evening, everyone. Again, I have to thank No Green Rocks, the Legion of Memers, for making that very nice intro for me. I really appreciate it. And I will need to welcome our guest, Tyler the Redbeard. For tonight, you have your YouTube channel. From what I saw, you do movie reviews and
Yeah.
chatting stuff. So tell us some about that.
Yeah, just trying to start doing a little YouTubing and do a lot of movie reviews and TV reviews and things like that. But yeah, thanks for having me on. That intro was really cool. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, he was really great to do it for me. I don't know how much you know the Legion of Memers, but they are absolutely great people and
I
always
know I'm a
grateful
little
when
bit
they.
from Friday Night Tights, but that's
Yeah, I'm always
that's
grateful
about
when
it. I
they.
know they make some memes.
Oh, they make a lot of memes.
They do,
You say
yes.
anything and they're there. You 10 seconds and you're memed. That
Right. Yeah,
doesn't
they're
take
pretty
them
quick.
long. So, do you focus on any specific types of movies or?
No, not really. Just whatever I seem to enjoy, I kind of let other people know about.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I dislike
Don't.
something. Right. Yeah.
Sometimes it's a lot easier to find the things we don't than the things we do lately.
This is true. Yes.
There is some positive stuff out there. It's not all negative and depressing. Just
Right.
most of
Yeah.
it.
Sometimes you got to search for it, but it's out there.
Yeah. A lot of independent stuff can be pretty good. Mark the Cyborg, if you know who he is, X-Ray Girl's husband.
Yes.
Did an independent film like from the early 2000s or something when he was like 20 years old.
Oh, really?
And yeah, it was really good.
Interesting.
I think I think you can watch it on YouTube. He doesn't really like talk about it being on YouTube a lot because the quality's not really good, but it's called Fear the Reaper.
Okay. I did an indie
Definitely.
movie a couple years back, and it's also
Oh
not
yeah.
very good. Yeah.
No, his
Yeah.
movie's good, and just the
Oh, is it?
quality
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
YouTube
Yeah.
because
Mine's
ripping it.
mine's
Yeah.
kind of the same. It's a low budget, So.
Yeah. I mean, you could tell it was low budget, but you could also tell he put a lot of thought and heart and effort into the script and everything. It was great.
And it's a feature
Um,
length,
I think so. It's like
like a
90
full length
minutes.
movie.
So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. More than
yeah.
an hour is a feature length, is what they
Okay.
consider.
I don't know that
What's
much
it
about
called?
movies. Fear the Reaper.
Fear the Reaper. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll check into it.
I definitely recommend it. So he did a great job. What made you start to do YouTube? Let's say.
Watching a lot of the Friday Night Tights guys, and seemed like kind of a fun way to get out there and do reviews of stuff that people don't normally talk about. It seems like so. Like a lot of people do the superhero movies and stuff like that, and I'm with the filmmaking background, I'm kind of more into the Oscar movies and more lesser known things like that.
Oh,
So
cool.
it seemed like kind of a niche that not as many people were talking about.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah.
Do you have any recent recommendations?
I just did a review for actually this for Black Friday. Paramount Plus had a deal where you got I think it was 2 months for 99 cents or something like that. So I got that, and I've been just binging a lot of that stuff. And two of those shows that I found were Tulsa King and The Offer, which was the making of The Godfather.
Oh.
And the Tulsa King is from the guy who's done Yellowstone and a lot of those shows like that. So yeah, both of those are pretty good recommendations. And yeah, I think those are more obscure just because they're on Paramount Plus and not a lot of people have that. So
I do actually. I'm a weirdo though.
What do you watch there?
Honestly, we mostly have it so that my mom can watch Big Brother and Survivor.
Okay. Yeah, I remember. I know a lot of people with the Big Brother, and they have I don't know if they still do it, but like the 24-hour cameras and stuff like that. Do they? Okay. I know a lot of people had
they
it
do that.
when it first started. They had it just because of that with the CBS.
Yeah, she's thankfully never been to that point that she will sit and watch them for 24 hours. But,
I know people that will. Yeah, they just watch
yeah,
them
no.
sleep and stuff. It's very creepy.
But then again, here we are on the internet talking about our thoughts and opinions. So
right, yeah.
Then again, at least people realize we're talking. Speaking of people, hey Derp, how you doing tonight? It's good to see you. He's always here. He's a
Okay. Oh yeah. Hi. Thanks.
chat's a little quiet tonight, I think, but
That's all right.
it's a Thursday. It's holidays,
Mm-hmm.
and people will. Hey, Ariel, how you doing? Ariel Suarez. It's going pretty good. We're here. We're chatting. We're going to have a very good evening.
Hopefully so. Yeah.
Well, so far I'm happy. So had a delicious dinner.
Good. I had Chipotle. It wasn't that good.
After seeing Chipotle in the news so many times for E. coli, I don't know that I can ever eat at one.
Yeah, but it keeps the crowds down that way.
Yeah, but there's a reason for that.
Right. No, I know. They cleaned up. They mopped up. That's fine.
They say that every time, and then another couple years later, they're like, "Oh well." Then again, it must be the lettuce.
Could be the
Because I
lettuce.
still
Yeah.
eat romaine lettuce, but
Yeah. Moral of the story is don't eat vegetables then.
No, I cooked dinner. I made a apricot and sriracha glazed tenderloin with some with a cucumber radish salad. It was very delicious.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Oh, it's really not that hard. I'm really happy with this food planning app I found. It really helps, it helps you buy exactly what you need for the week without having to overbuy.
Yeah.
So you're not throwing a bunch of food out.
How many people do you have in your house?
Just 3, me, sheep, and my mother.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, that's easier. With one person, it's just me, so it's kind of hard to cook without throwing out half of it. It seems like.
Yeah, well, like I said, especially if you don't like leftovers.
Yeah, that's true. That helps.
I'm not a big leftover person. Thankfully, sheep is. He'll eat just about anything.
Well, there you go.
All right. So, do you have a favorite movie or
favorite movie? I'd say probably The Matrix was pretty instrumental, I guess, for me. That and Memento, probably one of those two.
Interesting matchup. Well, why do you say instrumental?
It was just kind of a eye-opening moment when I watched that movie. It was just kind of made me wonder how movies were made and how did they do this, how did they do that, and then I just started watching all the behind the scenes DVD commentary for every movie I had a DVD of, because back then they all had DVD commentaries or behind the scenes stuff and things like that. So I just kind of started down that rabbit hole after The Matrix.
Okay, cool.
And then Memento was just really cool because it was like a completely new way to tell a story that I hadn't seen before, and it's one of those where you can watch it 5 or 6 times and still find new stuff about it.
Trying to figure out if I've seen that one or not.
Memento? It's the one that's kind of told backwards. The guy with the short-term memory loss. Christopher Nolan before the Batman movies.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it. I've heard of it, but I haven't sat down and watched it.
It's worth a watch. What's your favorite movie?
Depends on my mood.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. There's not always I don't always feel like watching the same thing, but yeah. What's the general answer?
If I'm gonna sit down and watch a movie just because I'm gonna watch a movie, it usually ends up being horror, and 9 times out of 10, I probably end up defaulting to the Nightmare on Elm Street. So,
like the original Nightmare?
Yeah, the original.
Okay.
The remake doesn't count.
Yeah, probably not.
No. I don't like remakes.
So is that your favorite? That's your favorite scary movie? Is Nightmare on Elm Street?
It's my favorite movie in general.
Okay.
Basically, it's one that I know if I'm going to watch it, I'm going to be happy watching it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which I suppose is odd for someone to say about a horror movie.
Have you seen Smile?
I haven't yet. I thought it actually looked really intriguing.
It is on Paramount Plus actually right now.
Yeah, I saw that. I just haven't sat down and watched it.
That was a good one. And I'm thinking of the recent one. Oh, Barbarian. That was another.
I've heard good things about that one too.
Yeah.
I just haven't. It's Christmas time, and people tend to yell at me if I start watching horror movies for some reason.
Oh, really?
I don't get it.
That's too bad.
But at least they let me watch horror movies all the way out throughout October.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
It's kind of annoying. So you said you have a film background. Did you go to school or?
I dropped out of film school. I went for like 2 semesters, and then kind of got into news and doing like news producing, that kind of thing
Mm,
for a good little while. I met some creative people who kind of helped me make that make the last movie, and then I'm trying to write another one. We'll see if that one goes off the ground or not, or either gets off the ground or goes off the rails. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just
what kind
currently
of
writing it right now.
what kind of things do you like to write about?
Oh, so the last one was a parody of horror movies, kind of like a Quiet Place, a parody of that.
Hmm.
And this next one's kind of about an aging rock star who's kind of trying to get his band back together for one last run at his glory days.
Oh, that sounds cool.
So yeah, kind of a they're not anywhere close to each other in genres or anything like that.
So you don't have a specific genre you like to write, just kind of whatever takes you.
Yeah, I'd like to do a western, but you kind of need money to build, sets and build that whole world. So
Yeah,
kind of stick to the low budget stuff. You can't really get too fancy with it. Can't do sci-fi or westerns and things like that. So
that's what makes horror so easy.
I
You really
know,
don't
yeah,
have to have
yeah.
a budget.
It was actually really easy with the first one. I had a guy who lived in this place that looked like a cabin in the woods, and
Oh,
then
cool.
just use the woods themselves, and yeah, it's
Hmm.
pretty low budget.
Nice.
Yeah,
I mean, I suppose it wouldn't be too hard for me to film a western. I do live in Montana, so
that's
I just
true.
kind of
Yeah,
go outside. Uh,
yeah. You just have to. Yeah, my aunt and uncle lived on a ranch in Texas, and it would have been great to film there when they did because it was,
Mhm.
I mean, it was out in the middle of nowhere, and there weren't phone lines or anything. It was just cows and fields and
Yeah,
hills, and that was it. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. That does certainly make it easier when you don't have to worry about those.
Do you live like in the country in Montana, not like a
No,
city?
I live in a city. I live in Great Falls, kind of in the middle of the state, but I
Okay,
drive 5 minutes and I'm out of town.
okay. I've never been to Montana.
I definitely love it here. It's other than being a little chilly right now, it's a good place to live. I've
Yeah.
always been happy with both the people. Like, if I get my car stuck out in front of my house because of a ridiculous snow, someone drives by, they'll stop and help push your car.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I had a boyfriend who was visiting from New York during one of those times, and someone stopped to help me out. And he's like, they would never do that there. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's because they're a bunch of assholes. What do you expect?
Right? Yeah. You're not wrong.
So, approximately how exact would you like to tell us where you live? East Coast, West Coast, state,
Missouri.
Missouri?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. Central time zone. So I was
Nice.
an hour ahead or behind from
Hour ahead.
whatever your time zone was that we were talking about. So
Yep.
Yep.
Yep,
but
it's
I'm good at math, so
9:15
I can subtract one or add one. I guess I'd have to
Add one. Add
yeah,
one.
yeah,
If you
yeah.
subtract one, then you're going the other way.
Yeah, then it'd be in Hawaii or somewhere.
No, then you'd be in
L.A.
Eastern
California.
time.
Yeah, that's right.
No, then you'd Eastern time if you subtract
Eastern
one.
time. Okay. I don't know. Anyway, I got here. That was the main thing.
You showed up on time. You were here before I was. That's
Yeah.
we're off to a great start. It's
Yeah.
wonderful. I see you have some posters back there.
I do.
Why don't you tell me, do they mean anything or are they just random posters?
So that one, this is the Matrix one here,
Mhm.
and then this is Sin City.
Oh.
That was another one of those kind of really interesting film where it looks like it's actually a comic strip
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of it, and then the other one is Jackie Brown.
Oh.
That's my favorite Tarantino movie. Let's see. This one, this Geeks and Gamers meetup. You can't really see it. Batman comic, Fistful of Dollars, and let's see. And that's just a Teddy Roosevelt poster back there with a Teddy Roosevelt saying.
Oh, why Teddy?
He's just a cool guy. Sounds like the coolest president ever. And he had that quote about the man in the arena, and that's the quote on the poster.
Yeah, as a person, he was pretty badass. As a president,
Yeah, he wasn't.
federalization of land isn't one of my favorite things, but that's what happens when you're an anarcho-capitalist.
It was also, it was also conservation too.
Yeah.
That helped to not let people further degrade the land and stuff like that. So I think
that worked really well. Sorry.
Well, you give it, areas where you can't, parks and things like that. So
supposedly, yeah, but you give the government enough money and they'll do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true.
I'm more of a Calvin Coolidge person, so.
I know nothing about Calvin Coolidge.
That's because he really didn't do anything other than not let the government do anything.
Okay. So, yeah. Okay. When that was... That
1923 is when he was...
okay, so that was after Roosevelt then.
Yeah. Yeah, he really... he literally really didn't do anything other than not really expand the government. Kind of tried to leave people alone.
Okay.
Of course, things beyond his power took place, like prohibition and stuff like that, but...
So who was he... Did he follow Taft?
No shit. I don't remember. Okay. Let's find out.
No, it had to be after. It had to be after Taft because Taft wasn't around too long. I wish there was like a machine where you could look up this kind of stuff.
I really do too. It's like, wouldn't it be nice if you could type it in somewhere,
right,
and it would come up with all the answers in order or something like that? Let's see here. Like if I decided to do something weird, like just look up which presidents had middle names and didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be a weird thing for somebody to do?
Let's see. You went Harding, Coolidge, Hoover. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, he was. He was the president. I guess right when the. When was the Great Depression? Was that 29?
No, that was Hoover. That it happened when Hoover took over.
Okay.
So.
Because he ended Roosevelt. In 1929, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Calvin did. Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
But no, you look at it, and there's actually a weird... middle names really didn't come up as a thing until like later in history.
Oh, really?
The majority of our presidents didn't have a middle name.
Is that right? Let me see here.
I don't know why I spent an entire day looking that up once, but...
You got Ulysses S. Grant, Rutherford B. They got a lot of initials, like Chester A. Arthur, James A. Garfield.
Well, before that, you had John Quincy Adams and James K. Polk.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
Martin
There's
Van
a lot
Buren.
of them. You go through it, and like, who was it?
But yeah, George Washington, that's true. Like, even Abraham Lincoln, I don't know if he had a middle name.
Not to my knowledge.
Did that happen because of just population? Like, there were so many people that they're like, all right, we got to start using middle names?
No, I'm not entirely sure why they started doing it. People had middle names, but for some reason, not a lot of presidents.
Oh, okay.
Then it's like some of them like started running for president and they added a middle name. I want to say it was there was something weird with Bill Clinton's name.
Jefferson?
That happened. No, Clinton.
Yeah, no, it wasn't William Jefferson.
Clinton? That's his middle name, yeah, but there was something I have to look it up. Because he started out as something else. And let's see here. Yeah, William Jefferson Blythe was what his name was.
Clinton.
Yes, he was
So his
born
last.
William Jefferson Blythe the third.
So his name wasn't Clinton.
Nope, nope. He was
Oh,
William Jefferson Blythe the third,
huh.
and he took the last name of his stepfather, whose name was
Okay.
Roger Clinton.
Did he have
And
a rough relationship with his biological father?
no, his father died in a car accident before he was born.
Okay.
So his mother remarried, and he took his stepfather's name.
Okay. That kind of makes sense. I mean, that's the guy who raised him.
Yeah, this is just kind of interesting. You never realize when. I don't think a lot of people search William or Bill Clinton and expect to find his last name was Blythe.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely didn't know that. Interesting. Well, I learned something today.
Yeah, don't mind me and my random bits of. I'm not as bad as some people, Starson, wherever she is right now. But I still.
That's all right. I'm into. I like history stuff. I watch a lot of those Frontline or not Frontline, the Ken Burns documentaries. So yeah, those are a thing I'm into.
Have you thought about doing any war movies?
Yeah. Again, I mean, it's low budget right now, so nothing in the near future. But yeah, they don't really do a lot of war movies just because they're so expensive.
Really?
Yeah.
I imagine blowing things up does get costly, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then if you don't blow it right the first time, you have to blow it up again.
Right.
Yeah. Well, though with CGI, you'd think that CGI is pretty expensive too.
Well, 1917 was a really good war movie that was kind of recent. I don't know if you saw that one, but
yeah, no, I really just remember Hamburger Hill.
Okay.
Apocalypse Now.
Ah, yes.
Like
okay. It's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah, it's a good one. Definitely classic.
So what did you get to study in your 2 semesters of film school?
Screenwriting was the main thing that I remember, and then it was like a lot of what do you call it? Like the classes that don't really matter, but you got to take them.
So a lot of filler bullshit.
Yeah, like drawing and painting, things like that. So
why would they want you to draw and paint in film school?
It was just one of those things you had to, check off the list. I guess if you're doing, storyboarding and stuff like that, might help to be able to draw.
That's true, I suppose.
Maybe. I don't know.
Do people, I mean, wouldn't it kind of be like comics though? You kind of give the storyboarding to someone else who can do that?
I would think so. Yeah. I mean, mine were just basic, like a circle and then a couple of lines for where the face was pointing, and that was about it.
So you didn't get too exact.
No. I wasn't good at it, so I couldn't get too exact. Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, as long as it gets you to where you want your end result.
Yeah, I guess so. But it was fun for 2 semesters, and then I ran out of money, so had to go to work.
How that's always the fun part.
Yeah.
Seems to come up a lot, running out of money.
Mm-hmm.
What was I about to ask? There was a question. Oh, is storyboarding necessary?
I think for like small budget movies, it's really not. But for when you get into the millions of dollars per day, it's probably pretty important to stick to things pretty precisely.
Yeah.
Time is money. That whole thing.
Makes sense. Yeah.
But then you get to the bigger departments, and they have like an artist who are actually good at storyboarding and things like that. So
they can pay that person to literally draw the comic of the movie. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't know why I'm learning that in my first semester at film school, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess. Yeah, I have no idea. I tried to come up with an excuse. I couldn't. I gave up.
Yeah.
So movies.
What's your YouTube story? How did you come to start this?
Honestly, you can blame Eric July.
Okay.
and a couple people in his chat for, and in COVID, of course, you can also blame COVID. And my little brother to some degree. I'm sitting around kind of bored. Eric's talking about how if you really want to see the world change, you need to get involved in the spaces that you're interested in and talk about your opinions and your thoughts and try to help
Mm-hmm.
spread what you feel, or think, I guess is the better word, because feeling really doesn't have a lot to do with it. And ANCAP Gamer, who isn't here currently, but he usually shows up eventually, gave me a couple pushes, and my little brother gave me a rundown on how to do it. And so I started streaming on Twitch,
Okay.
playing video games. First thing I ever streamed was Cyberpunk 2077.
Never played it.
It's actually a fun game between the computer crashes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed the game. I know a lot of, but I wasn't one of those people who was out there, following every drop of information, really hyped up for it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was more of a fun thing for me because I didn't have the expectations.
Okay.
Expectations tend to be a problem sometimes.
You play a lot of games?
Yeah. Well, gaming is what I do mostly.
Okay.
Like tomorrow night, me and a friend are going to start playing Valheim again on Twitch, and then I'm going to play some more Plague Tale Requiem.
Okay.
Do you play any video games?
No, not really. I got actually at the Geeks and Gamers meetup, I won the PS5, so I kind of set that up and haven't really played it that much. I got a Madden game for it, so I played a little bit of football on it. But yeah, I'm just not too big into video games. But I know a lot of people are.
Well, we all have our hobbies.
Yeah.
So, what do you do other than movie and TV?
Just watching a lot of stuff, trying to do some YouTube videos. That's that and work takes up quite a bit of time.
Yeah. And what do you do for work?
Just to manage an auto parts place.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
All it's got to do is pay the bills in the end. So
right, yeah, it does that.
Plus, everybody needs auto parts at some point. I've got to put some brake fluid in my car.
Yeah.
Nothing quite as fun as getting in it, and all of a sudden it's telling you all the systems aren't working because the brake system light's on.
Yeah, that's the problem. But
and it's snowy out.
Oh yeah, you kind of need brakes for that. I forgot about Montana.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the ice, I probably wouldn't have been as worried.
Right.
But no, then the car warmed up, and I think it was just that it was so cold out, and the level was just low enough that the liquid contracted a little.
Mm-hmm.
So I do need. I think it's probably just best to get a brake flush, because I looked at the color of the fluid, and it is looking a little dark colored.
Okay. Yeah.
And from what I was reading, that means you should probably get a system flush.
Yeah.
So.
How cold does it get up there?
I mean, down into the negatives.
Does it? Yeah.
I mean, -20, -30.
Do you have to hook your car up to a heater at night?
No. That was more of an old car thing. And
I was gonna say, my parents were talking. They lived in North Dakota. I guess during the winter, and they had to. I guess everybody hooked their car up to these block heaters or something.
Yeah, that's really more for the battery than the.
Okay.
Than anything. If you have a good battery with good cold cranking amps, then you don't have to worry about it.
And it may have been cars, 30, 40 years ago too.
That too, yeah.
Yeah.
The older cars, the block heaters and stuff, before they really had some things figured out for the cold cranking amps and all that. Plugging in your car was a necessity.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a block heater. Is what it would go to. I mean, we've done that here in the past, but the last car we plugged in here was probably in the mid-90s.
You've been there for a while.
Yeah. We moved back here in 1994.
Okay.
So
wow. That's
we got to live a lot
cold
of
for me.
It's only cold in the summer, in the winter, and in the hot. God. Let me try that sentence again.
Okay.
It's only cold in the winter. In the summer, it's hot.
Yeah. Okay.
So you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes,
Is there a
it
lot
is
of like outdoor
absolutely.
stuff, like
Oh yeah.
hiking and
I went to
golfing,
buy a
things like
pair
that?
of shoes, new pair of sneakers, and I got to, and I'm purchasing the sneakers, and the guy's like, "Hey, do you do any outdoor stuff?" And I'm like, not really. Not really into skiing. He's like, "Well, if you want to, we rent snowshoes," and I'm like, so yeah, no, I mean, there's you basically any outdoor activity you could think of that is involved in a plain level or a river, lake, or mountain.
Okay.
It happens here.
Is there a lot of skiing?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I can
I assume
drive
it's kind of
maybe.
like Colorado, like kind of the Denver, Copper Mountain, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you drive 30 minutes and you're at a ski slope. You drive 10, you're at a lake. You can go fishing. You can. I mean, there's a river here in town.
Hmm.
Yeah, you can do just about anything you can think of.
Okay.
Outdoorsy here. Plenty of hunters.
I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, then there too is two golf courses in town. I was actually driving by one on the way to take the puppies for their first shots,
Okay.
and the deer were out eating on it. Now, all I
Yeah.
could think is, those are some brave deer.
Right.
Actually,
Yeah.
no, they're not brave. They're smart because they know they can't be shot there.
Right. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. They figured it out.
Yes, we were fried and frozen here, Primal, and it's great to see you. By the way, yeah, here we go from 120 degrees in the summer to -30 in the winter.
Is it really 120 this year?
It's gotten up there more than a few times, at least once a
Yeah.
year, it seems like.
That's crazy. Okay.
But they can get a quick 9 in. If I could count the number of times I woke up and there are freaking deer outside my house.
Yeah.
I actually pulled up one day, just, middle of the day, pulled up to my house and there's a deer standing in my front yard looking at me. And I'm like, why are you here?
Right. The deer is probably thinking the same thing about you.
Well, he's standing in front of my house. I live here.
I tried to do some hunting this year, and I didn't see any deer.
No.
I saw a bunch of trees though. Kind of the weird thing
Yeah.
about hunting is after a while you start to kind of see deer in like between trees in the distance and things like that, and they're just not there.
You start
Just kind of
hallucinating
imagine
deer.
them. Right? Yeah.
The deer are always in your yard. You feed them. I wouldn't want to feed them because then they will eat my stuff.
Yeah. They're terrible about that.
They really are.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad my backyard's just totally fenced in. They would have to jump like a 9-foot or a 6-foot fence to get to my plants in the
They
summer.
can
That
jump
and they would
fences
have to.
pretty easily.
Oh yeah, no, but then they would also have to deal with 5 yappy dogs.
Oh yeah, that
So.
probably scares them off more than the fence.
The fence discourages them, and the dogs really discourage them.
Right. Yeah.
So. Thankfully, I don't have to worry about anything eating my plants. But I know plenty of people who live, out of town who, they try to put the nets over their plants, or they have the deer fence, and the frickin' deer still get to it.
Right. Yeah, they're persistent little things.
Yeah, all I have to worry about is the damn bugs in my garden. And I keep trying to grow a blueberry bush, but it refuses to cooperate.
I don't know anything about blueberries.
I know they're blue.
Yeah.
And they grow on bushes, and they have to have so much time at a cold weather level.
Are they pretty temperate?
Yeah, well, not temperate, but like they have to spend so much time cold in order for them to grow right in the summer.
Huh.
Like they have to have so many cold hours, I think is what it's called, for them to actually germinate or something.
Interesting.
And we have huckleberries, which is kind of like a blueberry, but it's not a blueberry. It's a huckleberry. They taste pretty good.
Okay, I've never had one.
I definitely recommend them. They're kind of tart and sweet, and they're good. Of course, I think they're basically native to Montana. You don't see them a lot of other places. And from what I learned about them, because I was thinking, damn it, maybe I'll just get a huckleberry bush because I live in Montana. But apparently, they're not easy to domesticate.
Okay.
People don't think about the fact that you have to domesticate plants much the same way you do animals. That, and you have to figure out how to give it the best care.
What about blackberries? Those seem to grow everywhere. That shouldn't be that difficult.
My mother's allergic to blackberries.
Oh, okay. Well, don't do that
Well,
then.
raspberries too. So,
Okay.
though raspberries are really easy to grow, from what I understand.
Yeah. Yeah, because it seemed like blackberry bushes, they just kind of pop up kind of wherever.
Oh yeah, I mean the huckleberry bushes pop up wherever. It's just getting them to grow where you want them to grow. That's the hard
Okay.
part.
Yeah, I gotcha.
It's like we have this tulip in our backyard, and we're pretty sure the bulb has to be like 6 feet down or something because it keeps popping up just in the middle of the yard. But if you try to plant them somewhere else, you can't get them to grow.
Maybe you're not planting them far enough down.
Yeah. Or something. Yeah. Well, actually, the last time it was my dog kept digging them up and eating the bulbs.
Oh, okay.
But,
Well,
yeah,
somebody's getting it. Somebody's eating them.
You're not supposed to eat tulips. They're just supposed to grow and look pretty.
Well, apparently the dog thinks you are.
Hey, Moon, it's good to see you. Well, the dog thinks you're supposed to eat. You're either supposed to eat it or you're supposed to pee on it. Those are the two things the dog does with it.
This is true, yeah. It's what they do best.
Oh yeah, they absolutely do. So you do any reading?
Yeah, a little bit. There's one I'm reading right now called "Flowers of the Blood Moon" or "Blood Flowers of the Moon." It's about the Osage Indians and the beginning of the FBI, and they're making Martin Scorsese's making a movie about it.
Oh,
And
cool.
I'm about I don't know, like 20 pages into it, so it's still pretty early.
Mm-hmm.
But they get moved to this reservation. It's a true story. They get moved to this reservation, because of the colonization and all that stuff. And then they find oil on this reservation, so they end up getting a lot of money. And then whoever is getting a lot of money, they mysteriously end up dead. And then kind of the cycle continues with the next person that gets the money. It seems like so. That's the most recent book I've been reading.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So do you
What
have a
about you?
favorite? No, I read all sorts of things. I just finished. If you're in the wrong, or if you're reading this book, you're in the wrong universe.
Okay.
It's a series. Well, it's the end of the fourth in a series by Jason Pargren. It documents the life of one David Wong, who that's not his actual name. He just picked the two most popular names and put them together because he's trying to obscure who he is.
Okay.
And he, how to describe this? He basically lives in a town, and it's an undisclosed town because he doesn't want people to know where he is, again, because he doesn't want people showing up on his doorsteps with weird crap giving it to him. But he runs into this actually, have you ever seen the movie John Dies at the End?
That's the movie name?
Yeah, have you ever seen that movie?
No.
Yeah, okay. It's because that's based on the first book in the series, and it's all about he comes in contact with this drug that they're calling soy sauce, and it basically opens his mind to all the possibility in the universe. Most people, they take it and they explode, like literally explode.
Okay.
And he one second.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
No, so he's takes the drug. All of these things open up to him. He can see things that were never there before. He ends up involved in trying to stop this plot. Trying to stop this plot to basically have this other interdimensional entity take over the world. And in the end, this girl's dog takes a bomb from them and explodes it. And that's the first book.
Okay.
And each of the books are kind of based off of this, like the writer found this concept that interested him, and so he bases the book and these people lives around the concept. So like in the second book, it's actually all about there's basically set up in the human brain an approximate number of people that you can truly emotionally attach to, and it's something like 150 people.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's got to be a limit to that kind of thing.
And so I mean he goes through, and in that book is called "This Book is Filled with Spiders, Seriously Don't Open It."
Okay.
And it, in that book he's discovers that there's a parasite that's actually digging into people's faces. There's actually it's kind of like this actual parasite that lives in the world. It gets into someone's faces or into fish faces, and it'll eat their tongue and live in their mouth. So, and that's what this parasite does, is it gets into it looks like a spider, and it gets into their face and lives in their mouth and basically hijacks their body. And, the whole thing goes down where the government comes in and locks down the town. They're going to firebomb the town to get rid of it. And it talks about how, when you're not in this situation, when you're hundreds of miles away, people will think, oh, that's bad, as opposed to, realizing the immensity of the tragedy, much like, anything else with what's a good word? Oh, what is that word? Like when a hurricane happens, like Hurricane Katrina, how much devastation it is, and the emotional separation for a human, because they do not actually experience it.
Right.
So, I mean, you might feel bad for them, but you don't really experience that full emotional trauma of, if it was actually your best friend that was involved in it.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And plus, you're not seeing it firsthand. You're, seeing it on the news and things like that.
Right.
I know we had a really bad tornado,
mm-hmm.
An hour or so away, and you see it on the news. And then I went to just like a day to help clean up and stuff like that. And it's just like completely different when you're there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's that was kind of eye opening.
Yeah. And yeah, that's kind of what that book reflected on, is that difference, and how most of the time, most people are lucky enough to live in a life where they don't actually experience that shift between being distanced and then inside the situation.
Plus, I think people can only handle so much,
Right.
If everybody was going through the same thing all the time, it would be that'd be tough for anybody
it would be really
productive
rough
in life.
Hey, Anwell, good to see you. You're always welcome to lurk. But of course, the next book is What the Fuck Did I Just Read?
Okay. I like the names of the books.
They're really, they're really fascinating books, especially on a psychological level, just because of the way he goes about. I mean, you don't really, unless you skip to the end and read the end of the book, you don't really find out what specific thing he's exploring until later in the book, when they're kind of talking. He always manages to bring up what he was talking about in the book at some point, to kind of flesh out the story. And I definitely, if you haven't read them, I I would say they're really good. They're kind of sci-fi, futuristic sort of books, or not futuristic, but paranormal sci-fi is what I think I'd have to say.
Okay.
Because they all center around kind of paranormal activities and alternate universes and Lovecraftian. They're definitely Lovecraftian. That's probably the best way to describe them, because they're always about an outside force coming in to destroy the world, and this drug that gives you knowledge beyond what people should have, that drives most people mad or realistically actually kills them. So yeah, definitely. And in the first movie, if you haven't seen it, you should. Or well, you said you hadn't seen it, but you should see it. It has Paul Giamatti in it.
Okay.
And I don't normally like movie adaptations of books, just because they typically leave so much out, and they really did. They left a lot out of the movie, but they had to because of time.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, the things they left out made sense. And I don't mind that so much, but what they put in, they were very true to the book, up to including the point where he's trying to leave a basement and he reaches to grab the door handle and it turns into a dick.
If I had a nickel for every time that happened to me, I'll tell you, it's I would have I wouldn't have any change if that was the case.
But no, that's the type of humor and everything. I mean, it's on one hand the most juvenile, ridiculous bullshit humor that you can run into, and on the other hand, highly psychological and in depth and interesting. It's crazy.
Okay. And how many books are there?
4 so far.
4.
Yeah, it's John dies at the end. This book is filled with spiders. No, seriously, don't open it. What the fuck did I just read? And if you're reading this book, you're in the wrong universe.
Okay. Well, the names are great.
Yeah. I saw the movie first. I hadn't realized there was a book, so after I watched the movie, I went and found the book, and then I read the others. It's actually funny because I didn't realize that there was a book, and then I found the book, What the Fuck Did I Just Read? And I actually listened to it as an audiobook. And the old door ticket. And so I looked after there's a movie of the first one. There isn't a movie of the rest. I don't think, even though the guy doesn't come off as particularly woke, I don't think they could get away with making these movies into books right now, or these books into movies right now. I don't think they could, just because the level of retarded humor.
Okay. Well, I mean, maybe there's a market for it.
Oh no, there's definitely a market for it. I would watch them over and over and again. I think they're hilarious. I reread when I found out the 4th book was coming out, I reread all 3 books. And then read the 3rd one, and then read the 4th one. So when he's going to come out with, I think he said he has at least 2 more planned.
What's your favorite movie that was a book adaptation?
Probably John dies at the end, honestly, because it's.
Oh, really? Okay.
The one I could say is I like The Shining, but it leaves it. I like Kubrick's The Shining, but he had a tendency to emphasize his own ideas in the movie as opposed to the actual themes in the book. So he went really heavy on the alcoholism, whereas in the book, the alcoholism was a thing, but it wasn't as much of a thing as the spiritual shining connection was.
Yeah, I've heard the book is completely different from the movie. Not completely different, but very.
It is very different from the movie. Yeah. I mean, I like them both, but one thing I've learned is that it's always better to see the movie and then read the book.
You think so?
Yeah, because then you're not nearly as then I'm not nearly as pissed off.
Yeah.
Because if I've read the book and I'm watching the movie, all I think is, well, why didn't they do this? Why did they change that? Why did they? And whereas if I watch the movie and then I read the book, it's like, oh, well, there's just more here. Now, when it came to, which one was it? Carrie. I was very disappointed that both the original and the remake went the directions they did. There's themes in that book that they totally ignore that I think would have been much more fitting. Yeah.
Is it? Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's actually had a number of his books turned into movies.
Yeah, I didn't know Carrie was one of them, but I have not seen the remake on that.
It wasn't very good. You're not missing anything.
Okay, good deal.
It's not like the It remake. The It remake was actually, well, I don't know that you can really necessarily call it a remake since the original was a made-for-TV series. And then, and
it was just
the movie was a movie. Huh?
Yeah, and it was just half of the book.
Yeah.
Oh, really no. I guess they
it was kind of the full story, but it was really condensed down.
Right.
So there was a lot that they missed in the miniseries. Now, the miniseries was still good, but there's a lot they definitely skipped. And the remake, there's some things that it bothers me that they changed. Like Mike Hanlon, the guy who stays in town and documenting.
Library guy?
Yeah. They changed some things about him that kind of bugged me. But realistically, I don't know how much of it they did because of being Hollywood and how much of it they did because they felt it would better fit the time that they were using, you know?
Probably a little from column A, a little from column B.
Yeah. It just, I don't really like it when they ignore things that empower characters.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And if you ever read the books, like each kid kind of has their own special ability that they can kind of call on in the right moment. And the movies kind of ignored that. Or they switched it to, like, they switched them around a little too.
Yeah.
But in the end,
I remember hearing that there was like a weird orgy thing
there
that
is
also left out of the movie, which is probably a good thing.
I mean,
probably for the best that you leave that out.
It was, like 4 or 5 teenage boys and a teenage girl. So
right, yeah.
When you read the book, it makes sense, but yeah, it's not something you really want in a movie.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I mean, I do, and I don't understand people who get upset and start calling it pedophilia, but they're all of the same age. So
in the story, yeah. But yes, that would be very uncomfortable to see.
Yes, no, it would be extremely uncomfortable. That's why they were smart enough to not put it in.
Yeah. Even if it was like an animated movie, that would still be.
That would just.
Well, I guess I'm sure there's a genre for that now. Actually.
Oh, there is absolutely. It's called hentai.
Yeah.
It's mostly about tentacles.
Pretty popular, from what I hear, especially in Japan. So you said I guess you follow Eric July.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get his book?
Yes. I've got a few copies of his book.
Oh, did you? What did you think of it?
I thought it was pretty good. I'm not much of a comic book reader, so I'm more of a novel person. Oh, one moment. Hi. That's Sheep sitting, in case you're wondering.
He said hi back, by the way.
He waved.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not much of a comic book reader, so it's 96 pages, which I'm told is long for a comic.
Yeah.
But it also feels really short to me.
Well,
'Cause
yeah,
I'm
you're
used
used to reading like actual books. Then
yeah,
yeah,
I'm
that
used
would
to
be
getting the
short.
whole story arc in one book as opposed to
I think it's
having to finish.
basically maybe 2 or 3 comics all in one, like the length of a normal comic. I think that's about what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely interested in seeing Isom number 2.
Yeah.
So, very I'm waiting that. The way the best way for me to talk about it is it's a really good setup. I feel like I read the first 3 chapters of a regular novel,
Yeah.
and now you're kind of getting into the meat of it where, the part where um the storyline starts moving upward, not like at the top, but you're starting to get up there. So I'm
Mhm.
definitely going to be interested to see. But yeah, I've got there's I don't know if I can move so you can see it. Oh, you moved it. No, it's always been over there. I see.
That one, you probably got that one.
I've got, well, is that the one that's over there? Yeah, that's the one that's over there.
Yeah.
And I've got, that one.
The variant covers and all that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you
I've
get
got
any signed or any of the other stuff?
these.
Okay.
And I have a cover C signed as well, but that one's still in the box.
Gotcha. Yeah, it was it was, the quality of it was really good. Just
Yeah.
the pictures and stuff like that. It just I don't know, just introduced way too much. It was kind of I don't know, too many characters and you couldn't really focus on anybody with any, I wish it
Yeah.
would have just been the main character that they stuck to, but they just kind of kept bringing in people and then left the kind of threads loose on a lot of that stuff.
Well,
I'm
and
sure they're
that's
going to
why
get
I'm
to it
interested.
eventually, but yeah.
Well, that's why I'm interested in number 2. He is, that's why I said it feels like it was the first 3 chapters of, not that it took me as much as the first 3 chapters of a book to read, but in the first 3 chapters of the book I can usually expect to be introduced to a number of characters,
Uh-huh.
get a groundwork on what the world that I'm about to read about is going to be like,
Yeah.
and maybe just get a little bit of hint of what the conflict in the book is going to be. And I feel like that's what that did. It set all that up, but I really wish there was more.
Yeah.
So, but that's from what I assume is part of reading a comic.
Yeah, I think, like you said, like Primal said there with the second one, focusing on Isom more. I think the first one should have just focused on him almost exclusively, but it just kind of kept bringing in more and more characters, and then I don't know, just kind of less time to get invested with the main guy if you're just kind of constantly bringing in other people.
No, I'm pretty sure the next one should. I know he's got that and 2
Yeah, no,
others in the
I'm sure it
works.
should,
So, but
but yeah, as far as making that your first comic and stuff, obviously that's just that's great.
my first comic was Beauty and the Beast.
His first comic, like his first, putting out
Yeah.
his first comic. That's your
Oh.
first comic out of the gate. That's pretty great.
Yeah. Yeah, for his first comic, yeah, it's a good job. And he said it wasn't going to be an actual origin story. It's just
Mhm.
the
Yeah, it
beginning of
just
where
kinda
he's starting
starts.
his story.
Right.
So, which I always find funny when people are arguing with him about the lack of origin. It's like, you can tell you've obviously never read a novel because many novels kind of start in the middle of the story.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, the origin stories are not origin stories are made for characters that have, you know, already been established kinda.
mhm.
Otherwise, you're doing an origin story for somebody that nobody even knows about.
Yeah, and that and the origin of your character shouldn't be the most important thing about them.
Right.
Like, how many times do you have to kill Batman's parents?
Right, yeah. Yeah. And the only reason anybody cares about that origin is because they cared about Batman first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You don't care about the little rich orphan kid.
Yeah, right?
You got to establish Batman first, and then, how
and
did
then
they
you
get
can
to
go
this?
back and
And then, right, yeah.
he became Batman because he was a little rich orphan kid.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And now you see why he got there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes it's like they pick on things just to pick on things. But we are at the midpoint mark. So I am going to go ahead and drop the link for Rumble into chat. We're going to go head over there. Not that I'm too worried about us getting saucy, but in the off chance we want to say anything that wouldn't be, well, I can't say that because I'll get in trouble with YouTube. But we'll be over there. And let me give you guys that link. I really need to get a Hey, Second Street Marvel, it's good to see you. Why don't you come over to Rumble? Because we are just about to head over there. Oh, I suppose I need to start remembering. Well, that works. Either way.
I have never used Rumble until today.
Oh, it's okay. It'll be really easy.
And I'm not subscribed to you on YouTube. I just realized that. So I'm going to subscribe to you.
I'm immensely disappointed in you.
I know. Yeah. Well, I thought I was. I only talk to you on Twitter, so I didn't even notice that. But anyway, I got to subscribe in now. So.
Okay. So we're going to head over to, yes, you're a boomer. You don't even know what that is. God damn it. It's the place where you can say all the things that you can't say on YouTube and still do it on a video.
Just click the link and it'll take you there. You don't have to know what it is.
No, you just have to click the link. That's the easy part. I made it so easy. However, like and comment on this video. I don't know. Can they comment on live videos? I don't know.
And Rumble?
Leave a like if you've enjoyed the conversation. If not, head over to Rumble so you can torture yourself more. Do you have anything you would like to tell the people who don't come over to Rumble with us about your channel, maybe?
Yeah, just a lot of movie reviews and TV show reviews, things like that. Generally stuff that people don't really talk about that much, just because it seems like there's a bunch of. But first of all, I don't have Disney Plus, so but it seems like there's a lot of Disney Plus shows that get a lot of conversations and things like that. And I try to stick to things that are a little more maybe not obscure, but less viewed and less talked about. But that's my YouTube channel, also the same name, Tyler the Redbeard, and I'm also on Twitter. But yeah, other than that,
and his links are in the chat, or in the description. And if you give me a second, I'll put his, because I forgot to copy it beforehand because I went blonde for a second. One moment.
Okay.
What am I doing here? There we go. Then I will put this in the chat so you can go there and follow him if you would like. Here we go.
Cool. Well, it was nice talking to the chat and all that stuff. If they're not going to go over to Rumble, but we're going to talk for a little bit longer, I guess, over there. You said
you can't say that on YouTube. The disappointing sequel to You Can't Do That on Television.
What happened?
Oh, Derpnator said you can't say that on YouTube. You can't say that on YouTube. The disappointing sequel to You Can't Do That on Television. It was a kids show in the early 90s.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know what Rumble does about some things. Anyway, we're gonna go over there now. I'm not gonna sit here and keep, chatting on YouTube. But I need to get a midpoint outro at some point. So anyway, y'all here on YouTube, have a great time, and I'll see you soon.